NMH at 1 is one place to catch the headlines and news making waves across Namibia, Africa and the globe. Joining you today is Ashwin Bedi and Diana Master.
Now here's what to expect in this lunch hour. Pohamba Shifeta is certain he'll be the Swapo Party's next vice president. Office of the Ombudsman launches superhero campaign to make children aware of their rights. Suicide attack at Afghan tuition center kills at least 19 people. Volunteers clean up Grootfontein town. And finally, the 62nd Oktoberfest kicks off today.
Now, in today's midday news update, a group of 50 unemployed volunteers in Grootfontein yesterday dedicated their time to cleaning up the town, stating that they cannot just lay around idle. Under the leadership of the town's mayor, they cleaned up the town's hospital and surrounding areas without expecting payment. Let's have a look at this clip.
Talita Namati Garisis, the mayor of Grootfontein. And what I'm busy with here is the cleaning campaign. The name of the program is Food for Work program. We didn't pay them any money. They are working for food. They approached the hospital themselves on last Monday. Then the matron called me and said, your people are here and they wanted to clean the bushes around the hospital. I cannot send these people back because they want to do something for their town. Then I said I will start from my own and write the letters to the stakeholders, different stakeholders, and begging for donations so that I can give these people food. Then from that day they have started working. And as you can see, they are busy on the ground and the hospital is now clean. From here, we will move over to behind Metro, and that is my program. I have started this program and I will not stop it. That is what I am busy with. Yeah, they are unemployed. So that's why they have come up with this, this idea of them. Some give in the form of money, some give in the form of food. Like the farmer, Peter Kawana, he gave us 5 bags of cabbages and 2 bags of beetroot. And there is one Dade Simon, what is it? Small boss. He gave each one of them a bag of beans.
Ons is mense wat
Remember to engage with these stories on social media as we share some community news stories from across the country on the other side of the short break in our visual news segment.
Heading into the visual news, the 62nd Oktoberfest in Windhoek was launched earlier this week, this time under the leadership of Namibia Breweries as the main organizer and sponsor. Hansa Draft, Popkowitz BMW, Eurowings Discover, Jägermeister, Radio Wave and Sport Club Windhoek will celebrate the Windhoek Oktoberfest over a period of 3 days. In 2019, 6,700 visitors were recorded for these 2 evenings. The festival officially opens to the public today.
So it's also, this Oktoberfest is a draw card for the city, as a draw card for tourism for Windhoek. But in terms of the rest of the entertainment, a lot to offer this year. Back due to popular demand, our Jägermeister Brass Cartel. Very exciting about those guys. So happy to have Jägermeister on board again. We have our Rocktoberfest SKW dancers. So some local support. And of course, wir haben wieder unsere Schuhplattler, our Schuhplattlers, who do their traditional German dances. They will also be there doing their thing. I will be joined this year for the first time by my fellow MC Carsten. When he goes into the big tent, he has to duck. He's the only one. And what's exciting also that we want to make it bigger and better. I mentioned that. It's something that, you know, you can see after COVID, people are craving for everything that was missed, and everyone wants to catch up. And Oktoberfest ist auch nicht anders. So dieses Jahr machen wir es ein bisschen größer, ein bisschen schöner. Wir gehen aufs große Feld, so we're going onto the big soccer field, bigger and better. We are doing 3 nights this year for the first time. So in the past we only had Friday night and then Saturday the whole day. This year we'll have Thursday evening, an event where you can invite your friends, or so you can only book a full table. So similar to Germany, you can invite your friends, have a social event, or invite your business partners or your company, and then you know, have a good time together. And it's an exciting event as a prequel to the official opening, which is again Friday night. So as we did it before, the highlight, the official opening will be by the mayor or someone from the city, as in Germany, where we open the first cake of Festbier, and we open the festival on the evening of Friday.
Now in this next clip, Salimi Gerard, the Yoshi FM manager, spoke to our correspondent Desiree Khassis about the first ever lip sync competition that will be taking place in Oshwarongo. The event is a fundraiser for the Yoshi FM's expansion to regions beyond Ocho-Zenjupa. Let's have a look.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Salimi Gerard. I am the radio station manager for Ochi FM radio station right here in Ochimurongo. This weekend on the 30th of September, we will be hosting the first ever lip sync battle that is going to take place at Karundo Junior Secondary School. It is the first of its kind, whereby the presenters of Ochi FM are going to entertain the listeners and the community at large. They are going to be the ones performing on stage. Now how cool is that? Okay, the lip sync battle is the type of event whereby the performers get to rehearse a certain song of the ideal musician or artist that they look up to or that they would want to be. They get to rehearse that song and they go perform it on stage with the type of style, how the musician looks like, the type of swag and dance moves, and they get to sing it without sound. I think mimic might be the right word. Yes, it's going to be happening on Friday, and we are actually doing this because we are planning on expanding the brand, you know, the OCFM brand out to Rundu and Keetmanshoop. And so we are also just raising funds, you know, and awareness so that more people can get to know the brand of OCFM. And we are also hosting a yearly charity event, so we are also just raising funds towards that. The winner gets to walk away with the 1,000 Namibian dollars. Wow, I could do a lot with that 1,000 Namibian dollars right now. And yeah, so we just hope to see everybody there. It's going to be fun. Come and unwind, you know a lot has been happening. This is a moment of fun where you come relax, have fun, good entertainment, good people, good food. We'll also be having a stall there. Come and have fun on the 30th of September.
Some people call him Mr. Rock the Boat. We know him as our in-house entertainment journalist, Michael Kayunde, who shares what the social scene has on offer this weekend to help you populate your calendar.
What's up, NMH at 1 viewers? My name is Michael Kayunde. I'm back on your TV screens to give you a lowdown of the events you should check out this weekend. To begin with, you can please catch that is Chill Sessions, a show where I get to show you the latest music videos that are trending in Namibia. It airs tonight at 1900 hours on Namibian Sun's Facebook page, and you can catch the repeat tomorrow on NTV. That is at 7 o'clock in the morning. Moving along with the events you need to check out this weekend, you can check out, that is the Namibia Arts and Music Festival, which began yesterday at Independence Stadium. You can also catch performances by Sunny Boy is also going to be there, Manebe, Tate Buti, and so many more local acts on the lineup. You can also expect to catch, that is Costa Teach from SA, performing at the same festival over the weekend. Moving along with other events you need to check out, all roads lead to Otjiwarongo this weekend for the Bush Fest that is taking place at the town's golf course. Tickets are available through web ticket for $150 Namibian. You can expect performances by Tos from South Africa, DJ Mags, Chester House Prince, and so many other people. It's also a weekend long, so it's from today until Sunday. So those are some of the events you need to check out this weekend. From me, Michael, until next time, it's bye-bye.
Tourism Minister Pohamba Shifeta is certain he'll be the SWAPO party's next vice president in contest for the country's presidency. Stick around for this story in the Namibian Sun as we head over to the newspaper review segment after the break. Thank you for staying with NMH at 1. We now take a look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers. Namibian Sun tells us that Tourism Minister Pohamba Shifeta is certain he'll be the SWAPO party's next vice president, as he was quoted on the paper's front page as having said, "I know that I will win. I don't want to go into detail, but I will win, that's for sure." Shifeta added that he is the perfect vehicle to connect the legacy of SWAPO to the future. The paper also further reports on the affairs of Trustco Bank Namibia, whose ability to continue as a going concern has had the auditors of Grand Namibia and BDO Namibia concerned since 2019 because of the huge losses it has suffered. Urban and Rural Development Minister Erastus Uthoni has questioned the pace at which the City of Windhoek Council is moving regarding the appointment of a CEO, saying it is worrisome that the position has been left vacant for so long. The city has been without a substantiative head since former CEO Robert Kaimise resigned in October 2020. Now, while the council recommended the appointment of current Roads Authority CEO Conrad Lutombi in October 2021, the process seems to be experiencing unending hiccups. Weighing in on the matter, Uthoni said the position was critical to the residents of Windhoek.
Now, Trustco Bank assured its clients that their money is safe, but the Bank of Namibia maintains that it is commercially insolvent. The auditors of Grand Namibia and BDO Namibia have since 2019 been concerned about the bank's ability to continue as a going concern because of huge losses it has suffered, according to the Republican. Now, on its page 3, the Office of the Ombudsman kicked off the superhero campaign to make children aware of their rights. The theme is My Rights, My Superpowers, and entails a series of animated clips and a 90-second commercial to inform viewers about the constitutional rights of children in Namibia.
Moving over, the Algemeine Zeitung leads with the Namibian conundrum as with regards to the Trustco Bank. While Trustco Bank assures its customers that their money is safe, the Bank of Namibia has announced that it believes the bank to be commercially bankrupt, for which reason Bank of Namibia is set to have the bank liquidated. Trustco Bank is supposed to be operating without an approved and sustainable business plan while being insufficiently capitalized, says Bank of Namibia. On its page 2, the Allgemeine Zeitung has a further look at animal exports to the DRC. The organization Wildlife Vets previously described the whole procedure of finding and catching the right animals, and now they give insight into the long voyage from Namibia to the DRC before the animals could be introduced back into that part of Africa.
Stay with us as we head into more visual news, newspaper review after the break. Continuing with the newspaper review, the Namibian's lead page reports that Congolese Rumba singer Koffi Olomide's chickens are seemingly coming home to roost as Namibian activists are hell-bent on calling for the cancellation of his upcoming show in the Land of the Brave. This comes after the dancer was found guilty of sexually assaulting 4 of his former dancers in 2019. In its lead story, the paper reports that Prosecutor General Martha Imalwa says the police have on several occasions since 2021 failed to comply with her instructions to conclude an investigation into them spending 14 million Namibian dollars on dysfunctional speed cameras. Now, government policy failures are in the spotlight on the paper's page 3, which reads that the Namibian government's management failures over the years are catching up with them, as an economist with the Institute for Public Policy Research on Wednesday unpacked the state of the country's economy. He said, considering the lack of economic growth in the past 10 years, it can be asked whether the government takes its own policies seriously.
Moving over, New Era's front page takes us to Swakopmund, where the town's municipality has approached the High Court to help it resolve a self-inflicted mess after wrongfully appointing the second-best candidate for the position of General Manager for Corporate Services and Human Capital. The town's CEO, Alpheus Archie Benjamin, wants the court to set aside the decision by the Management Committee to appoint Nelson Simasiku as the new General Manager for Corporate Services and Human Capital. On its page 3, George Harab, the Otavi constituency councillor, has rubbished claims that Combat is owned by anyone other than the government, saying that there's no way that any private individual could have bought and owned this settlement. Now, it says that based on an interview with the councillor under which Combat falls, as he stressed that no entity assisted from the fully operational Combat Settlement Office is allowed to provide services and collect rates and taxes for services rendered to community members on behalf of the regional council.
Certainly a shock to me. Now heading to economic news with Market Watch, which reports that while events such as drought and COVID-19 were out of Namibia's control, poor management and ineffective implementation of policies could be blamed for poor economic growth. These sentiments were shared by Robin Sherborne, the author of Guide to the Namibian Economy.
Now, Total Energy said an oil discovery of Namibia could be a quote-unquote giant. Stick around to find out what this means and how it might affect Namibia's economy.
Heading into the economic news, Total Energies said an oil discovery off Namibia could be a giant, boosting speculation that the country is home to a prolific new hydrocarbon basin. The find in the southwest African country seems to be a very large or even giant one, based on the results from a single well. Total Energies Chief Executive Officer Patrick Poyana said in a presentation to investors in New York on Wednesday. The French major announced an initial discovery in Namibia in February, weeks after Shell plc also drilled a successful offshore well there. The country has high hopes for its nascent petroleum industry, predicting that it could double gross domestic product by 2040. Oil finds off Africa have been few and far between in recent years, with exploration activity dropping to a single rig in 2020 as the global pandemic took hold. In the months following the initial discoveries in Namibia, executives at Total Energies and Shell had sought to damp speculation that they had found significant resources. Consultant Wood Mackenzie estimates that Namibia discoveries could contain about 6.5 billion barrels of oil, equivalent of recoverable reserves.
Now, in neighboring South Africa, the threat of xenophobia and power cuts are major concerns among Chinese companies in South Africa, according to that country's Consul General in Johannesburg, Tang Zhongdong. South Africa is currently experiencing a record-long stretch of load shedding. We encourage Chinese companies in South Africa to continue doing business in South Africa. The problems around power supply may not be good for business, but we think the problem is temporary and that the country would be able to overcome it, said Tang. According to South African Revenue Service data, South Africa's exports to China accounted for 12.3% of total exports, and imports from China stood at 19.9% of total imports. South Africa is also one of the largest investment destinations for Chinese companies in Africa. By the end of 2021, China's investment in South Africa totaled over $25 billion. China's economy is recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, which saw the country implement some of the strictest lockdowns to prevent the spread of the virus. We'll now take a look at the economic indicators. $1 will now cost you 17 Namibian dollars and 98 cents, while €1 will cost 32 cents more after a drop in the value of the local currency. No changes are seen on the NSX, with most prices remaining the same. First round Namibia stocks remain at 30 Namibian dollars and 53 cents. RX Properties Limited stocks have dropped by 0.10%, while Trustco Group Holdings stocks have dropped to 45 cents. Brent crude oil is down in price, while these other commodity prices are on an upward trajectory.
Now, former Zambia President Edgar Lungu says he is ready to face the law if he stole during his term. Lungu was upset at the invasion of one of his properties and said he wants to clear his name. This story and more coming up when we return with news from the African continent. We now expand beyond Namibia's borders to give you the latest news from the African continent here on NMH at 1. So, in our first story, former Zambia President Edgar Lungu says he is ready to face the law if he stole during his term. Mr. Lungu is unhappy that he, as well as his former government officials and family members, have been subjects of investigation for crimes allegedly committed when he was president. He was particularly displeased that state investigators on Thursday went to a piece of land that he owns to carry out investigations. Mr. Lungu has since appealed to his successor Hakainde Hichilema to start the process of removing his constitutional immunity from prosecution so that he can clear his name. He who alleges must prove, and we will defend ourselves. He later told members of parliament and supporters from his Patriotic Front party who visited him, "My urge is that may the president institute the lifting of my immunity by going to parliament to lay a case so that he can eventually prove the crimes that I committed," he said. Mr. Lungu, who last year lost power to Mr. Hichilema, has previously denied any allegations of corruption during his time as president.
Now, in our next story, over 200 police officers rallied in Sfax, Tunisia's second city, to demand the release of 8 arrested colleagues and defend their right to unionize. Responding to a call from the National Union of Internal Security Forces Wednesday, the officers in plain clothes chanted pro-union slogans. Over the summer, Tunisian President Kais Saied called for police unions to be consolidated into one organization, but the call was rejected by the SNSI, and protesters set up 32 tents across the country. On Friday, clashes broke out between unionized officers and the Sfax security forces during a demonstration. "I say to all of you that the officials of the Interior Ministry are taking advantage of this case," the SNSI police union spokesperson starts. "The ministry is using its social networks to smear trade union work in security institutions. The most striking example is the image given to the public and international community of officers fighting each other. This is what the Ministry of the Interior wants to show regarding the trade union movement," Chokri Hamada adds. A military court ordered that the 8 soldiers be placed in detention. The arrest has been called slammed as harassment and a drive to stifle union rights. According to Hamada, the officers were accused of disturbing public security.
Now, soon Ugandans who need organ transplants will no longer have to travel abroad thanks to a new law allowing the procedure in the country. Kidney patients are currently the biggest group in need of transplants in Uganda. There is just one dialysis unit in the whole country. A kidney transplant can cost at least $30,000 abroad, but experts say this could come down to about $8,000 if done within the country. The new law will clear the way for transplantation centers and a national waiting list of organ recipients to be created, but also contains stringent measures in case of organ trafficking or abuse of donors' rights. Operating an illegal transplant clinic or harvesting organs from a living person without their consent may attract life imprisonment. Parliament has approved the new transplant law, meaning that it will come into force as soon as the president gives his assent, which is largely a formality because assent is almost always given. Ugandan lawmakers passed legislation yesterday to ban any trade in human body parts after a series of media reports about criminals using force and trickery to take people's organs. The law will impose punishments up to life imprisonment and fines up to 2 billion Ugandan shillings and introduce regulations to strengthen controls on organ transplants and donations, officials said.
Now, police in Kabul say a suicide attack at a tuition center in the Afghan capital has killed at least 19 people and injured many others. More details coming up on NMH at 1 after the break. Starting off our international news segment, police in Kabul say a suicide attack at a tuition center in the Afghan capital has killed at least 19 people and injured many others. The blast took place at the Kaj Education Center in the Dasht-e-Barchi area in the west of the city. Students had been sitting a practice university exam, officials from the center said. Many of those living in the area are from the Hazara ethnic minority, which has been targeted in past attacks. Footage on local TV and shared on social media appeared to show scenes from a nearby hospitals where rows of covered bodies were laid out on the floor. Other media reportedly from the site of the private college showed rubble and upturned tables in the damaged classrooms. The Kaj Tuition Center is a private college which teaches both male and female students. Most girls' schools in the country have been closed since the Taliban returned to power in August last year, but some private schools are open. No group has yet said they are behind the blast, but Hazaras, most of whom are Shia Muslims, have long faced persecution from both the militant Islamic State State group and the Taliban, who both adhere to Sunni Islam. This morning, the Taliban's Interior Ministry spokesman said security teams were at the site and condemned the attack. Abdul Nafi Takor said attacking civilian targets proves the enemy's inhuman cruelty and lack of moral standards. The Taliban says it is attempting to restore stability, however attacks by IS have continued.
Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin was set to host a ceremony on Friday for the annexation of 4 Ukrainian regions, while his Ukrainian counterpart said Putin would have to be stopped if Russia was to avoid the most damaging consequences of the war. Russia's expected annexation of Russian-occupied areas of Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson and Zaporizhia has been widely condemned in the West. UN Chief Antonio Guterres said it was a dangerous escalation that would jeopardize prospects for peace. The 4 regions cover some 90,000 square kilometers, or about 15% of Ukraine's total area, about the size of Hungary or Portugal. Russian government officials have said that the 4 regions will fall under Moscow's nuclear umbrella once they have been formally incorporated into Russia. Putin has said he could use nuclear weapons to defend Russian territory if necessary. Ukraine has said it will seek to take back its territory. Referendums have no legal value. Under international law, the regions are and remain territories of Ukraine, and Ukraine is ready to do anything to take them back, Mikhailo Podolyak, Zelensky's advisor, told Italian La Repubblica. Zelensky promised a strong response to the annexations and summoned his defense and security chiefs for an emergency meeting on Friday where fundamental decisions will be taken, an official said.
After the break, we'll be getting into our local sports news. Stick around for more.
For news-related or advertising queries, contact irongotalk@synergy.com.na. Irongo Talk, our community, your news.
Flex is your health and fitness show that focuses on the health of the mind, body and spirit. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact zone@synergy.com.na.
And now let's talk sport. Starting off here at home, Brave Gladiators coach Pohamba Shifeta has unveiled his squad of 22 players ahead of their friendly match against Botswana. The Botswana senior women's national team will mark the country's 56th Independence Day on 30 September with a celebration match at the National Stadium in Gaborone. The kickoff is scheduled for 2:45 p.m. The team has been in camp for the past week and arrived in Botswana late Wednesday afternoon. In an interview, Shifeta said they are keeping the same players from COSAFA with the addition of 3 new young players because the team did well and worked well together as a unit at the recently concluded Women's Championships.
Happy Independence Day, Botswana, but of course, all the best to the brave ladies of Namibia. Now, Deb Marine Namibia, Namibia's leading marine diamond mining company, in partnership with Namibia School Sports Union, will be hosting its regional finals of its youth sport initiative called Bridging the Gap from the 1st to the 2nd of October at Veneta Sports Field in Swakopmund. The 2-day event, which will include netball, football, as well as athletics, will commence with an opening ceremony on Saturday, which will be graced by the presence of Erongo Regional Governor Neville Itope, as well as Minister of Sports, Youth and National Service Agnes Shongarero. According to Deb Marine Namibia's Senior Communications Officer Anna Ikela, the initiative is aimed at boys and girls of empowering school-going boys and girls. Now, the closing ceremony will take place on Sunday and will also include the prize-giving session for the different sport codes.
Now, the Namibian Football Association hosted a week-long introductory coaching course in Walvis Bay that ran from the 26th to the 30th of October to train and equip upcoming coaches. Sorry, it's actually from the 26th to the 30th of September. The introductory coaching course, which has been delayed since late October 2021 for reasons beyond their control, was attended by aspiring coaches who have no prior recognized coaching credentials, as well as some who have taken this course previously as a refresher course. The idea of hosting this course was spearheaded primarily by our executive committee chairman, Mr. Hendrik Davids, with the assistance of his committee members since mid-2021, but they were unable to achieve their goal due to COVID-19 restrictions and financial constraints experienced by the mother body, Namibia Football Association.
Stay with us as we head into international sports shortly.
We are back again with another
Generation
episode
Z
of your
reaches
favorite show.
scholars, varsity and the youth generation through zone, varsity and school news. If you'd like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact Zone at synergy.com.na.
Heading into international sport, North London derbies are always feisty encounters, but Saturday's clash between Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur will have an extra incentive with top spot in the Premier League at stake. 24 hours later, champions Manchester City host Manchester United as the Premier League returns with a derby bonanza after the international break. Arsenal and Spurs have both enjoyed flying starts, with Mikel Arteta's table-topping Gunners having won 6 of their first 7 league games, their best starts since 2007-2008. Antonio Conte's Tottenham are unbeaten with 5 victories and 2 draws, their equal best start in the Premier League.
Now, Newcastle United have agreed to a deal to sign Australia international forward Garang Kuol from Central Coast Mariners, the Premier League club said on Friday. The 18-year-old, who scored 4 A-League goals for the Mariners last season, will join Eddie Howe's side in January 2023 when the transfer window opens. Financial details of the transfer were not disclosed. Kuol made his debut for Australia in a 2-0 win against New Zealand on Sunday, making a telling contribution after coming off the bench in the 73rd minute and playing a part in the Socceroos' second goal.
All right, that's the end of our international sport. Hold on as we get into the headlines from this afternoon's broadcast.
The My.NA Cars Show provides viewers with the best in-class cars content, engaging interviews, as well as a showcase of the latest cars-related news, products, and services. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact My.NA at synergy.com.na. My.NA Cars, more than just a ride.
You're watching NMH at 1, and if you've just joined us, here are your news highlights. Former Zambia President Edgar Lungu says he is ready to face the law if he stalled during his term. Lungu has appealed to his successor Hakainde Hichilema to start the process of removing his constitutional immunity from prosecution so that he can clear his name. Police in Kabul say a suicide attack at a tuition center in the Afghan capital has killed at least 19 people and injured many others. In sport, Brave Gladiators coach Paulus Chipanga has unveiled his squad of 22 players ahead of their friendly match against Botswana. The Botswana senior women's national team will mark the country's 56th Independence Day on 30 September with a celebration match at the National Stadium in Gaborone.
Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia, Africa, and the world, ranging from current affairs, economic news, sports, and international headlines. That's it from us in studio, but don't go anywhere, because up next is news from Namibia's coastal region in today's edition of Erongo Talk.
Hello viewers and welcome to another exciting episode of Rongo Talk. I'm your host Nicanor Nangolo and today we are here at Sweetside in here in Walvis Bay, where as per usual we bring you your latest news updates with the tides, and today we also chat with Coach Willie Kapure and Gibson Gossip, who tells us all about the ongoing introductory coaching course as well as the importance of empowering coaches not only in Orongo but throughout the nation. So make sure to stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Now for our first story of the day, Jemo Herring was impressed with the maturity of Shakur Stevenson. He showed his victory over Robinson Conceição last Friday at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Herring feels that Shakur could have stopped Conceição if he had gone for the finish, because the Brazilian fighter was there to be knocked out. With Stevenson now moving up to lightweight, Herring says he's going to have to change the way he fights because they punch harder in that weight class. Herring is warning Stevenson about trying to walk down the fighters at 135 as he was doing against Conceição. Shakur got hit by a lot of times by Conceição, and he cannot afford to get hit with the same shots at the 135. There are a lot of guys at the lightweight that Shakur can walk down because they are not big punches, but against Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia and Isaac Cruz, he's going to need to be careful. I felt that he showed maturity, especially with everything he went through with the weight and everything. He still showed composure and did everything he had to, say Jamal Herring at the Fight Hype about Shakur Stevenson's win over Robinson Conceição. And now for our second story of the day. Namibia's under-23 football coach Colin Benjamin says that they will have to go back to the drawing board to rectify what went wrong in Angola after a 6-0 defeat. It was Namibia's second defeat in a row after having lost 2-1 to the same team in the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. The local side didn't look up to the task in the one-sided match dominated by Angola throughout the 90 minutes. The harsh reality of the Namibian soccer hit us as we were given the football lesson by Angola. I think the first goal was too quick and we were not on our man as we should have been, given the spaces between the players. We just really needed to recover, and that is why the Angolans had it so easy against us, Benjamin said. Namibia's level of fitness and readiness was put to a test against an Angolan side that has had an active league football in their country. This was a test that the Namibians failed dismally following a humiliating defeat. And now for our third and final story of the day. The Standard Bank Desert Festival takes place at Walvis Bay Private School this weekend. According to chairman of the organizing committee, Henry Camp, visitors can expect a lot of fun activities. Camp promised fun for both young and old. Bring your kids and let them have fun on the jumping castles as well as the water slides. There's a social game that will take place at 1400 hours to 1600 hours on Saturday on the new AstroTurf, which was officially inaugurated this week. Participants in the 90-kilometer race starts at 700 hours, followed by 60 kilometers at 10 minutes at 7:10, and a 20 kilometers at 7:20. 10 minutes later, the running event starts at 7:30, and for the 21-kilometer runners, followed by the 10-kilometer participants at 7:40 and 7:50 for the 5-kilometer athletes. The cut-off time for the returning runners is 10:30 and 12 o'clock for the cyclists. Now, if you want to read more on this or any of our other stories, you can check out our website. That's at www.terongo.com.na. Up next, we have our interview, so make sure to stay tuned.
Orongo Talk brings you community news in the Orongo region. For news-related or advertising queries, contact irongotalk@synergy.com.na. Irongo Talk, our community, your news.
Joined by Mr. Gossip, the acting regional coordinator for the Irongo Football League. So how are you doing, Mr. Gossip?
I'm quite well. I'm very much elated, and I can say we are happy that we are busy with capacity building within the region. Okay. So I'm quite elated.
Okay, so when did this initiative start, sir?
These initiatives arrived or was born through discussions late last year, around about October.
Yeah.
And this came about after discussions with the executive committee through its chairman, and then we had to submit a request of assistance through the office of the acting technical director at NFA. And it is after that undertaking that we were then assisted with an instructor. But due to certain inhibitions, we couldn't host our course as was planned late last year already. We all know the financial constraints of the mother body, and we also had the COVID-19 restrictions that didn't allow us to gather a large number of aspirant coaches. So those were but some of the inhibitions that we faced late last year.
Okay. So you say you faced a lot of inhibitions, you faced a lot of struggles, but then how is the initiative going so far?
From its initial stages of planning, we have gone back to the drawing board in terms of identifying what the needs are in the region. And we have came to realize that most of our second division based club teams or coaches are uncertified. They didn't underwent any recognized coaching courses through the recognized body NFA. And we had, through our discussions, then decided to engage the stakeholders, NFA for that matter, to gauge how they can be of assistance to our region, to assist our aspirant coaches in order for them to be certified. And we have got a positive response from all our member clubs, as well as some from the schools within the region. And then others came through private academies within the region, because the need is uniform in our region. So we have to start throughout our region to bring them on to par with where we want them to be, as per the requirements from Namibia Football Association.
Okay, sir. So are you guys planning on expanding this to a broader spectrum? Because I understand it's only in the Irongo region you're busy right now. Do you plan on going countrywide, nationwide? What are your plans?
As I'm speaking to you, I'm only responsible for the Irongo region. And all the other regions, all the other sister regions, should emulate what we have done in the Irongo region. And that is to have what we refer to as a regional needs assessment. And after that assessment, they'll have to engage the office of the acting technical director at NFA for them to be assisted the very same way that we have been assisted too. And I'm calling on all the regions to follow suit, because it will be of no use for Irongo to be in front with capacity building, and then you have a sister region that hasn't done the introductory coaching course for coaches within their region. So I'm calling on all the regions to follow or to emulate the Irongo region in doing what we have done.
Okay, thank you for having us, Mr. Gossip.
It was a pleasure, sir.
Senior instructor of Namibian Football Association. So, Mr. Coach, Mr. Willie, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, and how are you, brother?
I'm good.
Good.
Can you just tell us what's happening here today?
Good. We're here in Walvis Bay. We started off on Monday with the introductory coaching course for the youth coaches, the aspirant coaches that have been already in training or doing their job. In terms maybe coaching the academies, coaching the second divisions, and coaching as well as the first divisions, and some of them that I might be working with the Premier League teams as well.
Okay, so how is the coaching been going so far?
So far, I have a very good team, as you say. I must give an applause to the chairperson of the Rongo region, and also I must give my word of thanks to the coordinator, Mr. Kosep, for the hard work that they have done to make sure that this course is on up and running. As you have just asked, the boys are really well. They started very bit low, but now they are picking up. So what I normally do is that I'm training the boys themselves so that they can also easy to remember, because we have the process of learning that they went through as well. It taught them that when you see and when you read and when you are doing it yourself, it's much better to remember things yourself. So that's why normally at this level I don't use like an academy, for example, to do practicals for them, but they do themselves the practicals so that it becomes easy for them to remember things that they are doing.
Okay. So, what is the program for today? So, what did you start with this morning, and how are you going to end the project?
Yes, we had a topic this morning which was about basic passing. So what the whole groups are divided into four groups. So group 2 was on a practical session this morning. So they were doing passing and the receiving, only passing, basic passing. So now when we have done from the practicals, you have to watch it yourself. They will be going to the class and they are going to be taken by the match official, who will be taking us through the laws of the game, because it becomes important for us to make sure that the coaches on the ground need to understand what the laws of the games are, why they done the way that they've been doing, be done on the field of play, so that they should also have the sort of first-hand information to understand the laws and be able to explain to the players. If it's an offside, they must be able to understand why they're offside. And that's why this work becomes important during our coaching courses, so our coaches can be taken through those one-off element of the laws of the game as well.
Okay. So how does one join this project?
This program is under the region. The region itself have a different people that are running, that are busy with football, either the second division teams, first division teams that falls under the region, and as well as on the academies. And also, if this need be, there are school teachers that are already also busy in football. These are the people that need to come to be part of this project.
Okay, so do you have any last words of encouragement, motivation, or to a future coach that's out there viewing this right now?
If there's any aspirant coaches, the way to go is education. You cannot be training the young boys if you don't have the education, because what is happening, the modern scientific approach of the game has changed so much that we cannot just allow anybody to be on the field of play. So we need coaches that are trained, need people that have education to understand and to remember. If I'm training 4 to 6 young boys and girls, what type of training I need to give to them? If I'm training under 11, what size of the field should I use for the under 11, for example? So these are normally very much important aspect that why the coaches need to be trained and have the correct education to be able to train the young boys, because otherwise they might be even damaging the future of the young boys and girls to grow, because we might be giving wrong trainings to those young little ones. So when it comes to the elite ones as well, second division and up higher, they also need the proper training. They need to have a coach that understands the techniques. They need to have the coach that understands the tactics, so that the national teams coaches, the under 70s and the under 20 national coaches should not have a problem with a player that is coming from the regions, because they will understand, they will know already that these coaches or the players that are coming from a Rongo region, they are well trained because they are coming from a well trained coaches as well.
Okay, thank you for having us, Mr. Willie.
Thank you very much.